from the tornadoes that we had that touched down. Like when I left the radio station last week, I'm driving over accident after accident, but I'm dodging branches and trees falling. It was really traumatic. So it rained today and it just took me there instantly. I was back in that place. But I am here and I am safe and I am here to live in reality with you guys today. We have a lot to unpack. We're going to unpack Ready to Love, where one of the contestants feel that you can't date someone who's never lived alone. So we will dive into that and talk about that. We have, of course, the Love and Marriage Huntsville. My favorite reunion part three took place. So I'm going to say that to the 3 o'clock hour. It's always so much to unpack with the king of reality, Carlos King. We got Love and Hip Hop, that reunion, talk about that a little bit. And Myth Manor. If you remember, I was telling you about the show Myth Manor that was stated to come out with TLC. And it had 8 MILFs in a house. And the guys had to be half their age. And they were in the home as well to date those women. TLC threw an extra twist on it. They threw us, it's spicy. I'm gonna have to unpack that about Myth Manor and let you guys know what happened to that. And one of my favorite reality stars got married secretly. Right now, that's the assumption that he's married. So after just going through a divorce that most people didn't even know was final. Don't call me, call the radio station. So I'm just really want to jump into that about him. So you gotta stay tuned to hear who I'm talking about. But if you do have something in particular with reality that you would like to talk about and tell me how you've been living in reality, I would love for you to give me a call at 678-439-7419. Until then, we're going to dive in, hear a little tunes. Talk to you in a minute. It's Mia C, living in reality. a few things. So I'll start off slow and then bring you up to speed, okay? So, Ready to Love, right, with nephew Tommy, it's back on the air on OWN. And they've done it again. They managed to cast some beautiful, of course, attractive people out of Miami who are looking for love, who are somewhat accomplished in their own rights, and stir up enough drama to keep us watching. And this is only episode two. There's a lady on the show, Kavea, and she had the guys tripping. She questioned each one of them about living alone. She feels you are not ready to love, let alone date, marry, or anything else, if you've never lived alone. And that sparked a debate between my husband and I, actually. And he gave me well, I wasn't living alone when you met me. He was doing that whole bachelor thing. I don't know who he was really living with. It was a bunch of guys up in the house. I don't know who was living there, who wasn't living there, what was supposed to be living where. And he said, so when you met me, I wasn't living alone, and it worked out. It worked out. It worked out. It took a lot of coaching, training, and helping, but it worked out. But let me also add, he moved out within a month of meeting me, because you can't possibly be in a full out committed relationship in those bachelor pad type of situations. Not to me. Now I know some other people are going to tell me I'm wrong, and give me a call. I love to hear it. 678-439-7419. And you get to speak with me, Mia C, as we live in reality. And so I'm sure there's another side of the coin, but I 100% stood 10 toes down with Kavea on that, in saying that when you live alone, there's some challenges that you have that comes up, and maybe you don't even realize how you would handle it because you haven't had those situations, and you haven't had to just depend solely on yourself. You haven't had to go to bed truly by yourself. One of the homeboys was there, y'all laughed, joked, had a beer, then you went in your room and you went to bed. That's not the same as living alone. It's just simply not. And so we went back and forth about it. We agreed to disagree. And I would love to hear what anybody else feels about that. But Ready to Love has me with Kabea. Now she's done a lot of other questionable things and said a bunch of other questionable, made a bunch of other questionable comments. That's now getting her grouped into a gold digger category. She talks about how she goes to certain things once a month. She does a yacht ride, I think she said. And there in Miami, she does a yacht ride once a month. She gets her massages. She does a lot of self care, and she eats at great restaurants. And she went to name how great her life is, pretty much. And about how that any man she gets then is going to turn into his bill, and he's going to need to be able to provide those things for her. And some of the men weren't really there to hear it. You can see them. No one just straight challenged her. They do tease us with some trailers in the upcoming episodes to let us know that she will be challenged. But they did a great job with casting Kabea to me. I'm interested to see how it goes. She's a very attractive woman, and we know that men date first with their eyes. So I would love to see how that's going to go. Ready to Love news. Now, we talked about last week of them having the engagement last week on Ready to Love. Well, it seems like this week, Swayze and Kata from last season, they're in Miami. You might remember Swayze was the fireman, and they had a tumultuous relationship. I keep hitting y'all with those words. We're going to have a vocabulary test when it's over. But they kept hitting them. They had a really rocky relationship the entire show. They were great, then they were bad, and they were great, and they were bad, and it just kind of continued till they actually left the show on bad terms. They disqualified themselves, if you will. Kata stood up and was like, hey, I want out of this process. Thus, by default, Swayze has to leave too. So we're out. And then we see them back at the reunion, back together, super in love, want to touch and hold each other the entire time, staying 10 toes down for each other the entire time. And now, of course, as social media, Swayze has made a post that's like, hello, I'm single again. And this time, I think Ready to Love need to do some better background checks because some of these people have psychological issues. So of course we're all thinking he's talking about Kaden. So we'll see how that goes. But he did make a post saying he's single again. So girl, Swayze is back. He was a cutie fireman down there in Miami with a great sense of humor and a beautiful smile. So Swayze is back on the market. Shoot your shot. Get up in that DM. Do whatever you need to do before he get jumped all over. I'm sure he was one of the top guys on the show last season, so I'm sure he won't sit still that long. I actually have a friend who DMs these people. And some of them have talked to her and she's made dates with some of them. So the DM works. I hear just slide on up in there, put some Vaseline on that thing, slide on up in the DMs. So it's working out for her living in reality that way. So I'm trying to tell you, I'm putting you on game. Uh, this thing really got me tripping. Kanye Weezy. Now, remember, I told you I was going to tell you about one of my favorite reality stars secretly getting married. It was Kanye West. Kanye West, I don't know if you're more surprised that he's one of my favorite reality stars or that he got married. But Kanye West, keeping up with the Kardashians, we know him in other ways, but he has done reality television and he has secretly gotten married. Now I'm a little confused about the reporting on the marriage. They're saying that he got married in January. It was a private ceremony. He married Bianca Sensory, and the way her name is spelled is so beautiful to me. It's Censori Sensory, and he actually did a song talking about his sensories, so that's cute. But Bianca Sensory was a designer for him under the Yeezy brand. She started working with him back in November of 2020, before the divorce was final from Kim. And they supposedly developed a friendship. Of course, they always say it was platonic because he was married. So he developed a platonic relationship with this young lady, and it just went from there until they got married last week. Congratulations, Yeezy, I guess. Congratulations. It's only been 2 months since him and Kim were officially divorced. So that definitely has me tripping for that. So here's the deal though. There is no filed marriage certificate on record. So how are they married? I don't know. But there's been numerous people who have come forward and said they attended the ceremony. It was a small private gathering and they both wear their rings. So you don't always have to file a certificate, or they could have went, I don't know, to somewhere in Mexico or whatever. Remember on What's Love Got to Do with it? And they said they got married down in Mexico. But so I'm not sure where they got married, but currently there is no filed marriage certificate. Certain states allow for some time period before you have to actually file the marriage certificate. So maybe we're waiting on that. But in the meantime, he's considered himself a married man. He's wearing his ring. Congratulations, Kanye, my favorite reality star. But side note from Kanye, we're gonna slide over to Kim because we're keeping up with the Kardashians right now. Well, we were keeping up with Mr. West then, but by default he became a Kardashian. So, in keeping up with the Kardashian news, you can't talk about Kanye and not talk about Kim. We can't do that anymore. So, Kim, she's been for years being a advocate about the injustice in the judicial system. And so she's been a criminal activist, I guess they call that, attorney. I'm looking for a nod. Sure, okay, we'll go with that. But she went to Pelican Bay, which is widely known to be a really hardcore jail facility in California. And she went to visit some of the inmates who were on solitary confinement. And she talked to them a lot about mental health and how is this jail process hurting them more than to help build them up, because she's looking for other ways maybe that the system could turn around. And I think that's great. Anyone who's an advocate of anything, actually, if you're an advocate of anything, that's awesome. You got to be wary of people who don't advocate for anything. Then it's kind of like, what's going on with them? But and she went and she visited some of the guys on solitary confinement there at Pelican Bay. And she spoke to them about their mental health and how things are going for them there, and if maybe there's other alternatives or other ways that I don't want to say they're punishment because it's supposed to be about rehabilitation, right? So, but other ways then that maybe this could have gone for them. But she wasn't alone. Tobey Maguire, we know him from the Spider-Man franchises, and Scott Bundy, the executive producer, and I know exactly who he is because of this movie, The Hangover. So he was the executive producer of The Hangover. He's also known to do a lot of documentaries. So he was there, a camera crew was there, and Tobey Maguire was there, and Kim. So I'm sure it was being filmed, and we'll see it in the future of the conversations that she was having with men on solitary confinement. Now, Kim does a great job. We can say what we want about Kim, how we feel about Kim. We could talk about the tape that was made years ago, but she has definitely transformed her brand. She was able to help 17 people in 90 days become free. Now, we knew about, how do you say it, Centora Brown. She was the face that we first got to hear when it was Kim talked to Trump and was able to get somebody out, blah, 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 blah. That was Centoria. I know I'm saying her name wrong, but it's like Centoria, something of that nature, Brown. And so we know her, but I don't think I knew that she actually helped 17 people in 90 days be released. That's amazing. And that these people were wrongfully accused, evidence didn't support, maybe there was something with the trial, blah, 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 blah. But she was able to help go through it and advocate for these people for their freedom. So kudos to Kim for that, if for nothing else. Her doing that is awesome. So while the ex-husband is out getting remarried and just trying to get himself together, I think, because he's been quiet lately. So he's been quiet. I think a PR person might have helped him get it together. She's still moving forward in her life and doing the things that she needs to get done. So I guess since we're on the topic of jail, that's Pelican Bay. That's some hardcore jail. Let's talk about some little lighter weight jail, but still jail nonetheless. The Chrisleys. Yay! Finally are reporting to their respective jails. So I've reported several times that they were found guilty of bank fraud, of wire fraud, and a whole lot of other frauds. And so they were found guilty, but they've been holding out and coming out with so many reasons and so many ways to prolong them actually entering and start serving some of their jail time. But the judge finally hit the gavel and was like, look, enough is enough. It is time for you guys to go to jail. You did the crime, do the time. Okay. And so we're going to have Todd is going to report to Pensacola, whereas the wife is going to go to Marion, Florida. So she's off to Marion, Florida to do women fed time, and he's off to Pensacola to do men fed time. I'm sure this is not going to be the last that we're going to hear. I'm sure there'll be some more appeals, and after those 3 years, I'm sure they'll be back on television. We've seen it time and time again. We talked about it before. The fraud, you go do your time and you come back, you're sorry, and you try again, right? Same thing that happened with Teresa. Same thing that happened with Apollo. He did his time, came back, did a couple of episodes. He just recently got married. And I hear the wife is campaigning to be a Real Housewives. Duh. Of course that's what she does. Of course that's what she's doing. So we've seen that time and time again. You go to jail, do your time, get back out, get back in the limelight. Now you got more content to discuss and talk about. You're more interesting, you're more well known, and reality just can't wait for you to get back. So there's that. But good luck, Todd. Chrisley unfortunately did not know best. Sending my condolences out to American Idol winner. Well, he wasn't a winner. He was in the top 6, 7, 8, but he was one of the top people way back when American Idol first started. So CJ Harris, he was one of the African American male singers American Idol back in the early seasons, and only 31 years old. So unfortunate. He's 31 years old, and he suffered a heart attack and has passed away at this time. So of course, all the judges have sent their condolences to the family, as we would expect, and we're wishing the family the best. I'm sending that out sincerely. At 31 is so young to lose a loved one, so I couldn't even imagine. So my heart goes out to the Harris family, and we're definitely praying for you guys, and you're in our prayers and our thoughts. I I am it's burning a hole. I'm looking over at my engineer. It's burning a hole for me to talk about this love and marriage. Huntsville. I can talk about them all day, on. But I definitely 100% am going to wait till the 3 o'clock hour before I get into there with them. So I'll leave you with this one. Lori Harvey. Yeah, we're going to talk about who Lori Harvey is dating when we come back. Okay, so stay here with me. I am Mia C. We're living in reality on 101 TKO Radio. see Living in Reality on 101 TKO Radio. I kind of dated myself there, didn't I, with The Last Dance? That was one of my favorite movies. And I would do the little crossover dance, kick out, kick out. Anyway, that's me. Me, reality dance, that's it, Crocs. That just sums up me right there, all three of those. But say what, say what, say what? Lori Harvey is back. You can't keep a good woman down. So Lori Harvey, it's not official unless it's on social media. We know that. So she officially put up a picture on her birthday, her 26th birthday. Happy birthday, Lori. And she put up a picture of Damson Idris. Now, when I first heard Idris, she's with Idris. I was like, Idris? Now she really breaking up a happy home because he's good and married. Unless you want to talk to me, then we'll try to work out all that. But she's talking to Damson Idris from Snowfall. You know him, Franklin, on Snowfall. He always got the plug. He's the one in. He's the big drug dealer on Snowfall. But they are together. They made an Instagram official where he kisses her on the cheek and it put up happy birthday, Nunu. And she reposted and put 3 white hearts under it. And that's all it takes to say that must be her boyfriend now. So Lori Harvey's 26. Damson is 31, which might be more age appropriate. People were kind of shining when the picture of her and Diddy came, of them walking and holding hands. And then even with Michael B, I like to call him Michael Bay. So Michael Bay Jordan, he's 30, how old is he? 36. Oh, wow. Okay. 35 to be 36. Okay. So Michael Bay, they thought maybe it was a little bit out of age range and wasn't as age appropriate when they were dating before. But people are always going to have something to say about something. His shoe size too big. He can't be with her, so it's always going to be something. But now they're looking at it to say that it's more age appropriate. He's 31, she's 26. But I don't think personally Lori is ready to sit down with anybody. And she knows she's the it girl. I call her the Black Kim K. She's the Black Kim K. Now there might not be a tape that we know of yet. But she's on how I want Lori Harvey on my wish list, Meek Mill said. She's on the top of every African American male's wish list. Kim K was pretty much that person as well. No matter who they've been with before, guys like, oh well, I'm standing in line waiting on my turn. Hopefully she pick me. So I'm not mad at that. It's a lot of the women out, calling names and putting it down. And Steve can't be happy about this. Oh, Steve is mad, But I'm not. His whole date like a man. And I think she's dating like a man. She's not gonna stop and settle until all the attributes and the qualities and things attributes. Told you vocabulary test on this show is over. But she's dating based on the attributes and the qualities and what she's looking for, and she's not ready to settle yet. So good job, Lori. Congratulations, Lori and Damson, on I guess your it being your turn, right? But we're not gonna talk about Lori and not talk about Michael Bay, because of course he probably so upset. Oh, he's heartbroken. He not. Him too has moved on. Michael Bay has been secretly dating someone else. And we only know about this because we've been tracking Lori so hard and wondering how Michael feels. I'm over here making him a care package and ready to go soothe him and find out that he's been dating a British bikini model. Her name is Amber Jepson, Jepson, Amber Jepson. And they've been going back and forth for some time. Neither one of them would give about when they actually started. You got to choose those dates and numbers correct, because somebody realized they line up with the same timeline of when he was with Lori. But so they won't give a concrete date of how long they've been together. But they said right now they're taking it slow and they're enjoying the relationship. So Michael Bay bounced back, Lori bounced back, and I'm sure it'll be all good. So with that, stay tuned. Keep it locked and loaded. It's your girl Mia C. We are living in reality, and we are on 101 TKO Radio. promise, I told you at the top of this hour, I was going to dive into all things love and marriage Huntsville. So let's jump into it with the king of reality, Carlos King. I can't say it enough. He really found some people when he found them. And then it just kind of fell into his lap. So he really found some people when he found them there in Huntsville. So there's so many things happening on that stage. It was up and down. I was mad. I was laughing. I was sad. It was really, it pulled the entire season together. So great job, Carlos. I'm just going to jump right in from the very start about the biggest part of it. Carlos King became very emotional talking to Martell about he feels Martell still wants to be with his family. So he asked Martell, like, do you have any regrets? Is there anything you would have done differently? Like, how are you feeling about this entire situation? Because it hurts me. So I'm looking to you to see where are you with this. And Martell kept saying several times, like, oh, of course I have some regrets. I miss it. I miss it. And he just wanted to it. Where Carlos held him accountable and made him, what is it you miss? Say it. You miss your wife and your children, the family life, the marriage that you had. And Martell went really silent, quiet. He didn't come in either way. He just kind of nodded. He would be tearful eyes to the point that Marceau and Tisha passed him a napkin for his tears, and he rejected it, of course. But the tears were definitely there. He wouldn't let them fall. He was holding them back. He had that little lip, that little bottom lip get to weltering back and forth. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. And so he wouldn't cry, but he was very cheerful about it. Now Carlos, on the other hand, let the tears flow. And Carlos was like, I'm just so hurt and I'm so concerned about you. And that word concern really sparked me for him to say, I'm concerned about you. And he gave his analysis of everything and where he feels, where Carlos, from his perspective, sees Martell with wanting to be back with the male. Now, again, Martell didn't comment. He was very quiet. He was just cheerful and he just nodded up and down a couple of times. He had to be mindful, like, hey, I'm dating Sheree. You don't think Sheree is going to see this? Because we're all looking to Martell. What is he going to say? Because you can't say, yeah, I do want to be back with Mel. I do want this relationship to work. And you out here being a whole boyfriend and a whole side guy still with a whole side chick with another baby mama. Like, your life is messy, boo. So he couldn't be like, yes, I do want to be with Mel without hurting Sheree. So I guess he figured the best thing to say was to say nothing at all. And so he sat there quietly, just tearful, nodding his head back and forth as he listened. They put the camera on the other cast members, everyone staring at him. Everyone wanted to know what he had to say. And it was to the point that Mel began to cry because she's hurt. And I've explained this to people several times about Mel. And I think maybe just from a woman, period, to have been through all those situations that she's been through. So to recap really quickly, because I do, every week I get someone who says, oh, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. And because I live this in my mind all day, every day, I think it's just normal and natural. It's the same way you know who's the president in my mind. But so Mel and Martell were together 14 years. Now they have four children together, and they pitched the show to Carlos King. And it was about the 6 people, the comeback group, and the things that we're doing there in the community to help build up Huntsville. You had builders, realtor license, commercial, and residential. And so the things that they had been doing, buying property and flipping property there and renting some out to low income people. And they actually had a true business foundation when the show started of how they were going to show positivity. And it ends up that Martell had been cheating on Mel, so of course reality TV takes a turn. Martell had been cheating. They worked through that. They got back together still after the cheating. Mel got pregnant. They were happy to be about to have their 4th child. And then Martell's mistress shows up on the scene and she's pregnant as well. Now later, we find out that she's been pregnant multiple times. but this is the one that she was able to follow through and carry to term. And so Mel and Martell unfortunately separated and then divorced. With the divorce, so much has happened. And so Mel is a woman scorned. She's hurt. This man has cheated on me for, come to find out, 5 years with this one mistress that everyone knew around town, that they were driving matching BMW cars that Martell allegedly had purchased for her. And so Mel's hurt. And so in that moment, for her to finally on camera break down and cry as well, that she's missing what she thought she had this good, solid family foundation, and they were going to take over the town, and they were going to be purchasing these properties and flipping and selling them, and they were at what she felt was a pinnacle in their business and financial endeavors, that they were at the top and was excited about going even further, and then you're hit with this. I'm pregnant and your mistress is pregnant. So yeah, Mel is definitely hurt, and she strikes back a lot in a wrongful way, definitely wrong, but I understand where it comes from. So with that, one of the connections she's lost and one of the friendships she's battling against is a young lady named Destiny. Destiny was introduced to us on the show with a husband at that time, with Derek, and he's an entrepreneur who was there in Huntsville as well. And they were a couple that would allegedly, supposedly, hung out with Mel and Martell. And so we saw Destiny and Mel as great friends. But after the divorce, we see a divide and a distance. So Carlos was like, let's dive into this. Let's talk about it. What really happened in that relationship that separated the two of you, Destiny and Mel? And Destiny really finally gave us some background on what was going on. So just stay here. I'm going to break it down and go through the entire background to help us understand where did Mel and Destiny go wrong on Love and Marriage Huntsville. So I'm Mia C. This is 101 TKO Radio, and these are the breaks. in Reality on 101 TKO Radio. So I understand if you're at work and maybe you can't stay on the computer logged in to listen. So check us out on your phone. Go ahead either into your browser, log on and listen that way, or you can go over to our Facebook page where you can actually see me and talk to me there in the comment section in case you're too shy to call in. So I would love to see you there. I would love to talk to you. I'm definitely in the chat, so I'm talking back. I had a young lady by the name of Linda tell me how much she does not like mail. So pretty much I'm making too many excuses for mail. The mail is just a me no. So I encourage you guys to go on the Facebook page. It's 101 TKO Radio. It'll pull up. You'll see me there. And not only do you get to hear me, but you get to see me, right? Good thing I called my hair out today. Now that we're live. We were talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville and everything that unpacked on that stage for the final part 3 for season 4. And so we were talking about how Carlos King got emotional once Martell and Mel back. I gave a little bit more of a background about Mel and Martell's marriage and how they ended up to where they are now. And I did forget to say he is currently dating Sheree from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And we veered over to her relationship, Mel's relationship with Destiny. And so Destiny says she doesn't think the viewers quite get this part or understand this part. And this is what's really important to know where her and Mel went wrong. So she says she met Martell when they were like 15 years old. And she was there in Huntsville at that time. And they were good friends. As they got older, she ended up moving away. And once he became a married woman, I'm assuming she's talking about Mel, then she had no reason to contact him. So they weren't in contact, they weren't in communication. And so it was nothing. And she said what she did, and he was married and with Mel. So they had a 14-year relationship, Mel and Martell. But in that, Destiny moves back to Huntsville, and she gets her relationship, as I mentioned, with LaDerrick. And the 4 of them start to hang out. And by default, wives become friends. I might want to talk about that one day. Like, just because the husbands are friends, does that automatically make the wives friends? But and vice versa. Sometimes as wives, we try to push the husband off. Call him, watch the game with him, just so you can have a play date with your homegirl. But so by default, her and Mel became friends. And once Destiny was going through her divorce, they bonded together. We call it trauma bond. And so they trauma bonded, they bonded it over trauma together. So you had Martell out cheating, he's treating me bad, and we still don't really know why Destiny's divorced, but whatever it is. So they're relating to each other and they're talking to each other about this, and they bonded in that manner. For Mel, it seemed to have meant more. As Mel said, she would be crying on Destiny's shoulder, and Destiny would be like, hold on, this is Martell calling me. And so Mel eventually got to the place like, hey, you can't be my shoulder and be his, because somewhere some communication lines are going to keep getting crossed or whatever. I tend to agree. Now I've had 101 people tell me that that's super petty, but if we're going for a divorce, I'm telling you now, friends, you have to pick a side. You can't be my friend and his friend. To me, it just doesn't work. But Destiny thought she was going to be able to balance it, and so she would talk to Martell and talk to Mel. Later, Mel says that, well, some business got crossed. So some of the things I was confiding in Destiny with, she would carry it back to Martell. And then he would throw it up in my face later, and I would hear about it, and he would try to hurt me. And so Mel's argument was, you can't be friends with the person who is ridiculing me publicly on social media. He's disrespecting me publicly on this show in town. And he's just done all these really nasty things from Mel's perspective. Then you can't be his confidant as well. And so Destiny and Martell seemed to think that was a little childish and petty of Mel. But that's where the communication, the breakdown between the two of them came from. And so Destiny threw out a shocker, but no one expanded on it. I was like, Carlos, you jumped over this. She said, so you don't want me to be Martell's friend for the things he did to you? Then I wouldn't be able to be your friend either, because you did those same exact things. What things? Because forever, Martell has accused Melanie of cheating as well. And I kind of defend Melanie because I've seen guys do it 100 times. If they're caught cheating or whatever, they'll say to me, "Well, Mia, we don't know if she was cheating or not." No, we don't know, but we know that you did because here go your baby. so, but Carlos never jumped over to Destiny to say, "Hey, what do you mean?" Even when Martell tried to get them to circle back, Martell yells out, "What do you mean, Destiny? Just talk about it." She did the same thing. What? Tell it. And so you saw the previews where Destiny's like, "I can tell so much," and everybody's like, "No, don't tell, don't tell." And I'm like, tell. But she's like, "No, I'm not gonna tell. I'm not gonna tell." And so they kind of left it there. The two of them have just basically decided that no, we're not gonna be friends anymore. We're gonna move forward in my life, and she's gonna move forward in her life, and she can continue to talk and interact with Martell, and I just don't want anything to do with it. So Tisha chimes in like Tisha always does, and I'm confused if I like Tisha or not because I think she has some great qualities, but she says some things to me inappropriately or at the wrong time, so I'm not sure. But and her hair was the best hair on that stage, though. Yes, Tisha, that lace was lacing. Ooh, that must be HD lace. Cause I was looking, I stared at that screen for a while. Took my little pause button, zoomed in. It's good, but it's getting good. It's getting real good. So but Tisha chimed in like she does and went on to tell Mel how she's a dark spirit and she's a devil in sheep's clothing. I wanted to like have a little bug in her ear and be like, it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's a wolf, Tisha, it's a wolf. But she was like, she's the devil in sheep's clothing and things of that nature. And you have a dark side. And of course, Mel made me, oh, I have a dark side. But I think she does. I think it's warranted. It's understood in my mind why she does. But she definitely does have a dark side. She's tried to pay people to come on the show to say some things that would have broke up another relationship. So she's definitely conniving and manipulative. I won't take that away from Mel. I do understand where it comes from. Um, so much there. Also, one of the things that's going on with Mel and Martell, when they're talking about the dark soul, Martell went on to say that's why he wants full custody of his children. So Martell has filed in court and petitioned for full custody of the children, the whole kids, all four. He wants full custody. He doesn't feel that Mel has enough time. So some people are saying jealous that her career, whatever. Carlos even alluded to that. Do you feel that she's gotten bigger than you? But he's asking for full custody, saying that she does not have the time to properly attend to the children the way he feels they should be attended to. There's too many nannies. There's too many babysitters, and he's not even happy with her brother. Watching, he went on to say she just recently met the brother a couple of years ago herself, and yet you're going to have this male around my four children. A lot of bloggers speculated that it's because he's homophobic. He cleared that up. I'm not homophobic. We just don't know enough about him for him to be watching his children. So there's a lot of things going on with Love and Marriage Huntsville. I can understand the hurt and the pain that Mel is experiencing. However, I've always said it's not an excuse for bad behavior. Last little part before I transition, I do want to say, remember to keep Kimmy in your prayers. She let us know that she was out of the first danger zone when it came to breast cancer, but there's a long road ahead, and she has a lot more radiation, a lot more surgeries to take care of, and then she'll be able to feel more comfortable in the situation. But as of right now, she is doing well, but she just started the journey, so she's asking for our prayers still to continue for her and Maurice. Um, I'll tell you a little bit more about Erin. That's the one we call the side chick. They call her coleslaw, Martell's coleslaw, because she's a side. Get it? Coleslaw? I thought that was so funny. The first time I was like, who is coleslaw? And she's the side. Oh, I get it. I just want to be a biscuit. Everybody wants bread with their food. I'm a biscuit. Forget a snack. I'm a whole biscuit over here. That's my new saying. Hey, it's your girl Mia C, and she's a whole biscuit over here. But stay tuned. Stay tuned. Keep it locked and loaded. 101 TKORadio.com. I'm Mia C. Nelson, I'm still working on that mirror to put the hand claps in the mirror in the morning for me. Clap when I walk into the bathroom. Good morning, Mia. So we were talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville. I went through the gambit, Carlos to Martell, you miss your family, Martell not saying anything, over to Mel and Destiny explaining their situation behind Martell. Now it was introduced, so I want to thank Sabrina for bringing this up to me about them with their friendships and the things that she said, Destiny, that we wish he expounded upon to say, then we wouldn't be able to talk to you either for the same reason. So it started with Carlos saying that some of the viewers thought that maybe Mel was jealous about Destiny's and Martell's relationship. It comes out that Destiny talks to him 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. They both say it's platonic, though, and and that Mel had nothing to worry about. But those are some of the things that Mel was saying that she didn't like in the relationship. So I can tell you somebody who did not like what was being said. Sheree, his current girlfriend. So, like I said, Martell didn't give any energy whatsoever. The most energy he gave was when he said Mel had been cloning his phone, and that's how she knew a lot of the information that she found out of who all he had indiscretions with. Indiscretions, put that on the list for the vocabulary test. Who he had indiscretions with. But Sheree, now outside looking in, immediately I knew as a girlfriend she would have to be bothered that he never said, no, I do miss that past situation. However, I've moved on. He could have said something of that matter, just to show that he has solidarity with Shrek. Well, he didn't. So a few days after it aired, guess who stopped following him on social media? Shrek. But I don't know if that is the straw that broke the camel's back, because we find out now that Martell has been filming on the Real Housewives of Atlanta with Sheree. I don't know how that dual recorded reality show thing worked out. I do have a reality show producer friend that I would love to call and find out how does that work, especially when Carlos didn't leave on the best terms with Real Housewives. But so Martell is appearing on a couple of episodes, seemingly right now, with Real Housewives of Atlanta. He was seen filming with Shrek. So word got out to Arian, who Coleslaw, the side chick, that is just so funny to me, Coleslaw. But word got back to her that he was filming, and like always, she takes to live, and she's instantly upset, and she's in her rant, and she's like, "This is what I've been dealing with for years." Well, when you're a side chick, you gotta deal with things, and this is what I've been dealing with for years. And she shows her call log that Martell had called her numerous times. She wasn't answering. He was emailing, "Please answer your phone," and she wouldn't do it. And then he finally sent her an email that said, "I'm sorry." And she says, now that he's done being at the chateau, he wants to come back here with me. Well, of course, that's up to you, whether you let him back or not. But it shows that somewhere there is still a relationship with Ariane there as well. So Martell, you just a whole mess out of these streets. You love and messiness, Huntsville. That's who you are. This ain't love and marriage. Just love and messiness with Martell there in Huntsville. So I will look and see which way this is going to go. I can't wait to see him on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, to see if things work out with him and Sheree. Seemingly, Ariane already let us know she's not going anywhere. She says he can't leave her alone and she can't leave him alone. And so she's fine being a coleslaw in the background. But you know what happened to coleslaw when you leave it alone too long? It gets all sloppy and wet, loses all its bite and crunch. It's going to lose all its bite and crunch and its flavor. And eventually you have to throw it out because it went sour. But coleslaw is fine in her position right now of where she is. She goes live if you want to follow her, like twice a week or more, to give receipts about things Martell is saying and doing. And she's good for doing that. No problem at all. And she posted the whole email of him apologizing so that she would finally answer the phone. So that's like something toxic there that they've been doing for years, and they're comfortable in that space. After the show aired, Destiny took to Instagram, to social media, to clear up that viewers might be under the wrong perception that Mel had been paying her bills for her when she was broke. That's what she said. That's not what I said. I didn't call her broke because I think they're doing pretty good. But that Mel had been paying her bills for her and had given her about $6,000. So she admits Mel did give her about $6,000, and Mel said it was a gift. It wasn't a loan. I did this out of the kindness of my heart. She was having a tough time, and she was going through a custody battle with her ex-husband, and so Mel gave that to her as a gift. But Destiny wanted the world to know that it was not one-sided. That I too was a friend of Mel. When she had car problems, I went and picked her up. She has bad credit. She wanted to dish some type of dirt back, but the best she had going is that Mel had bad credit and that she's had some car breakdowns, and Destiny was a friend and was there for her. So, what a good friend. That's such a good friend. I had a friend who car broke down. I used to help get them all the time. But that's sidebar. Some people know what I'm talking about for me to add that in there. So, but that's a good friend. But Destiny didn't feel that she was treated the same in the friendship, and so now they've gone astray. Tisha feels Mel has a dark soul and is the devil in sheep's clothing. Martell is going back and forth between Arian, Sheree, Mel still, whatever his triangle is. Kimmy is doing great on her battle against cancer, and that wrapped up the season for Love and Marriage Huntsville. Ta-da! Season wrapped up until next time. So, but stay right there. We got a little bit more reality outside of them we want to talk about and dive in. So, I am Mia C. This is 101 TKO Radio, and we are living in reality. C, and we are still living in reality on 101tkoradio.com. That was John Legend, one of the coaches, voice coaches on The Voice. And I want to tell him congratulations, him and Christy, his wife. They just, I don't know how, what they just had a baby. I would say they just had a baby instead of she just had a baby, but they just had a baby using the IVF. So they were worried that it wouldn't work for them, that they wouldn't be able to have another child. And God said different. So there it is. Yeah, this is the third child. This is the third child. He's like 44 years old. And so he's not sure if he's going to return to The Voice right now. He's up and talks about it, coming back as a coach. But they did just have a child, and we always know that Chrissy stays in some social media drama. So we'll hear from her this week, I'm sure. But congratulations to them on their new baby. Congratulations. Well, it's getting later in the day. The rain is still outside. It's still gloomy here in Atlanta. And I am going to see the one and only Shantae Moore tonight at City Winery. So Shantae Moore, yeah, applause, yeah. So I saw her on the Soul Train Awards years ago, about 2-3 years ago, and I thought she was amazing. She looked fabulous. She did a great job, and she strut back and forth around that stage. I had to Google how old is Shantae Moore, and she is serving the people. She's over 50, and she's showing us how to do it. I can't. Well, I'm lying to say I can't wait to get to 50. I can wait. But but I hope when I do make it there, I can look just as fabulous as Shantae and can sign. Not saying she could sign, and that girl was signing. And so I saw her at the Soul Train Awards a couple of years back. And now this year she came back and performed at the Soul Train Awards for 22 and was amazing. I was captivated, put it on your list. I was captivated by her. And I went and found when she was going to be in my town, when could I see her, and I bought those tickets immediately. So, Shantae Moore. No charge for that. That was free. I just did that in. It was free. I'm coming to see you tonight at City Winery. I can't wait to see her. As I say each and every time, I do not take this opportunity for granted. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for rocking with me and tuning in and living in my reality of reality. So I am so appreciative of each and every one of you guys who takes time to actually click in on and listen to me as we live in reality together. So I thank you for that. I look forward to seeing you Thursday at 2 p.m. We're going to do it all over again, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Time for my Chicagoans out there. Woo, Chi-town. And we log on, click in, and live in reality with me, Mia C. Make sure you follow me on I am Mia C on Instagram and Living in Reality on Facebook. And you can also follow us here at 101 TKO Radio. Go and like and follow the page because it's not only me, it's some other great personalities that you'll hear about. Like, hey, Tashawn at the mailroom. We love Tashawn at the mailroom. She always has some great topics, and we really get to dive in from a male perspective and how they feel and think of things, and you can call in and talk there too. It's a really safe place. So Tashawn, it's great for the mailroom. So make sure you go to 101 TKO Radio and you can find out about all the different personalities, the different shows, and you'll be surprised what sparks your interest. But I do thank you for rocking with me and living in reality today. I am Mia C, and this is 101 TKO Radio. I'm